Hello Web3的朋友们，大家好，欢迎来到原力区直播间，这里是第254期原力开放日，我是本次活动的主持人 Hazel。那欢迎大家跟随我们原力区探索 Web 3.0的世界，希望我们可以共同携手，共建共享 Web 3生态繁荣。Hello everyone, welcome to our Force Open Day. I'm Hazel from Force Community, and we warmly welcome everyone to join our live and follow us on Twitter and YouTube to explore the world of Web3 together. And we hope we can build and share a prosperous ecology of Web3 together. 那今天呢，我们原力直播间为大家邀请到的这位嘉宾呢，就是我们来自于 Router Protocol 的社区商务经理 Matthias Yap 先生。那他今天来和我们分享的主题呢是跨链交互操作性的未来。Router Protocol 呢是一个跨链协议，允许 Dapps 在 Layer 1和 Layer 2之间具有互操作性。那 Router Bridge 呢已经在包括 ETH、Poly、BSC、FTM、KAVA 等在内的9个多链上进行运行。交易量也是超过了5亿，允许 token 之间的跨链交换，并且具有竞争性的费用、速度和安全措施等。So Router Protocol is a cross-chain protocol allowing for Dapps to have interoperability across Layer 1 and Layer 2. Router Bridge is live across more than 9 chains, including ETH, Poly, BSC, FTM, Avax KAVA, etc. with over 500 million in volume. The bridge allows for any token to any token across chain swaps with competitive fees, speed, and security measures. 那话不多说，我们接下来就把直播间交给我们的 Matthias. Matthias, you ready to go?
Yeah, good to go.
Yeah, OK. 那你就接下来我们就可以开始你的分享了。
OK, 好的。Hazel and the rest of the Force community gang, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I also want to thank Router for just trusting me to share a bit about what we do at Router. So I'm little introduction, my name is Matthias Yap, and I'm on the business development and community side of things of the team. The team is based mostly in India and Dubai. And the rest of us are working remote all over the world. Like I'm from Malaysia, and there's someone in Europe and there's someone in New York as well. So yeah, without further ado, let me just share my screen. Hazel, do I have to share my sound as well, or just the screen will do?
Yeah, 我们刘姐，我们给她权限了吗？
给了。
Okay, you can share your screen. Yeah.
Just share my screen, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, can you guys see?
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, today we're discussing the future of cross-chain interoperability, and it's something that we're building at Router. We are basically a robust infrastructure layer powering the cross-chain ecosystem. So let's just start with a bit of what cross-chain interoperability is. First off, we have a vision of building a composable multi-blockchain ecosystem, which is empowered by a completely secure, seamless, and scalable cross-chain communication layer. I think this vision is really to unite the blockchains or connect the blockchains, like to make the blockchains accessible, because we face a problem, which is that blockchains are siloed, and we have like 200 over blockchain networks currently running. They have different characteristics, different rules, different consensus mechanisms. And what happened is that liquidity in this entire blockchain ecosystem is not seated heavily in one blockchain, but rather it's fragmented across multiple blockchains. So what tends to happen is if someone builds a Dapp, you might not have enough liquidity depending on the users on your blockchain. You know, if you are a big blockchain, if you are Ethereum, then congrats, you were the pioneer leader and everyone's kind of building there. But if you're coming up like one of the newer blockchains, like the newer app called Sui, you know, that might be a different story altogether. So anyways, these blockchains are unconnected, like they are siloed from one another. So you wouldn't by default, Ethereum would not have the access to Avalanche's liquidity unless there was a way to connect it. And I think most of us are familiar with a bridge, cross-chain bridges. So let's just look at it quickly for those who may want to understand this in a simple manner. If we look at the first few blockchains like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Avalanche, Phantom, Binance Smart Chain, these are layer ones. They are the layer one blockchain networks, and they're kind of like bigger cities in Web3, the metropolitan cities. And the thing about big cities is soon it will be overpopulated, and what tends to happen is people will move out, like migrate out of the larger cities. That way it gets less congested, like there's less traffic in the major cities. So these little smaller cities are layer 2 blockchains, and they're built around to help direct the traffic there. And so there are newer layer ones, like I mentioned, like Aptos, Sui, and more are coming up daily, and they come up with these different architectures that may be more advanced than the current blockchains. So now, what is the first thing you do to maintain, if you have a city, and how do you ensure it continues to be prominent? Like, how do you maintain it being a prominent city? Do you think that if the city was only accessible via one route, via a small town, or like via one road, would that still be prominent? I would think otherwise, but I believe to make a city accessible is to make it, to make it prominent is to make it accessible, like to trade and stuff. Back in history, it used to be ports that would open up so that people from other nations could sail across sea and reach your port and trade and access your city, basically. And here's where cross-chain connectivity comes into the picture. Cross-chain bridges or even cross-chain swaps, we facilitate communication and liquidity migration. So liquidity migration is something maybe all of us are a bit more familiar with, where you are swapping tokens, you're moving your tokens from one chain to another. Whereas communication is a bit different. Communication is like calling a contract, meaning when every click that you do on chain, but now we're doing it across chain. So we would be able to call a contract on Ethereum from Polygon, for example. So that is what we envision. We envision that these blockchains can actually communicate with one another instead of being limited to doing all the transactions within its own silo, its own blockchain. So that could look like, ultimately for builders, it looks like building native cross-chain apps. So if your application is present on one chain, it's easily ported across multiple chains. So some of the use cases look like decentralized exchanges, which generally only allows you to do swaps of any tokens, but you would still be only performing that within your own blockchain. But now with Router, what we envision is, and what you can do is you can achieve cross-chain swaps, meaning you could swap any token to any token beyond just your chain. Let's say Ethereum, you could do that with, like, you could swap, for example, ETH on Ethereum for Trader Joe on Avalanche. Now, another use case would be wallet applications. You could see funds being transferred directly from one blockchain to the other. Lending protocols, enabling cross-chain settlement of what you borrowed. Yield aggregators, you could have cross-chain farming strategies. So you could be clicking it on Polygon, but accessing a strategy that's on Binance Smart Chain. NFT creators, artists can create NFTs that are chain agnostic, meaning they are omni-chain NFTs. They can exist on multiple chains. So you could move them from one chain to another, and they would still retain metadata and whatever it was minted with. And the last would be cross-chain stablecoins, something you can mint across different chains, and they're natively supported for interoperability purposes. Now, most protocols are limited. Now, how do we say that it's different? Like how router is different from other cross-chain protocols is that most protocols are limited to only ERC20 states. For us, we facilitate arbitrary message passaging. We facilitate arbitrary message passing and NFT transfers. We do this by this CrossTalk library we have, which I'll explain later what that looks like. Router also provides a stateless isolated execution module. This prevents any malicious entities from accessing the reserve funds. Because router supports native assets, the asset is not fragmented. There's no asset fragmentation. And we leverage on-chain consensus and upgradable contracts as well. And we're also audited, which I'll mention later. So these are just some of the products. I know it looks like a lot, but actually it's down to just the Voyager suite, the CrossTalk library, and our Explorer. The Explorer also ties into Voyager. So in a way, if you want to remember something today about what we offer, whether you're a builder or user, it's in the Voyager suite and it's in the CrossTalk library. Let's look at the Voyager first. So the Voyager is not the name that you may know in crypto of the Voyager. It's a rebranded of just router protocol. We decided to give our cross-chain swap a name, and so it's the Voyager, because we were doing these Voyagers, this cross-chain swapping campaigns, that we call them Voyagers, and therefore we have Voyager. Voyager it looks like this. It is our cross-chain swap. Okay, you can do instant any-to-any token swaps across 10 EVM chains, and more adding. How it works is that it uses a pathfinder algorithm, and the routes taken could be through our own Voyager liquidity, or it could be through the DEXs, the decentralized exchanges on the destination chain. So what this means is that if we take the route of routing this through, aggregating this through the DEXs, the decentralized exchanges on the destination chain, we would not have to rely on the liquidity on Voyager. And you can imagine from a security standpoint that therefore we don't have to hold that much liquidity. Also, we are permissionless, and for the users and the liquidity providers, the validators, we have a revenue sharing, which is for validators and liquidity providers. The cross-chain swaps are guaranteed a settlement. All transactions are settled, and we're audited by Certic, Halborn, and Hacken. We've been live since January this year, but we've been building since last year. So these are just some of the many chains we support: the optimistic rollups, Ethereum, Aurora, Kronos, Kava, Polygon, BSC, Phantom, Avalanche, Moonbeam, and we're also integrating ZK Sync right now. And so you might be wondering, what's the fees like? These are the fee structure. Like, you'll be paying in this a rough range of like somewhere between 1 to slightly more than 3 per transaction. It's not a percentage, it's per transaction, and it's a combination of this and your gas fees that you have to pay later on. So this is just for cross-chain fees, the fee to swap your tokens over. So Route has its use here. You can pay with Route. You can pay for the cross-chain fees in USDC. You can pay for it in Define as well, or the gas token. Now, we also have a cross-chain Explorer, which you'll be able to see how much liquidity is on Voyager right now. And as you can see, and this volume here tells us how much volume has been swapped across different chains on Voyager. This is on a daily basis, and this is, I think we're doing, let's say, somewhere on the lower side. If we just flatten these curves, I think we do at an average of 1 million $1 million dollars of volume transactions with half the liquidity on chain. So that tells us we are relatively efficient with the liquidity we have. We're achieving that amount of, even transactions wise, we're doing a few hundreds a day. So how to use this Explorer is to just click on one of it and it will show up something like this. It will show the source transaction hash and the destination transaction hash and all the details here. If you need more details what happened on your source chain and the destination chain, you could just click on it and it will lead you to Polygon Scan or any blockchain explorer it was based on. Right, so that was the Voyager on its own. So Voyager is cross-chain swap. Now we have the Voyager suite, which comprises of the widget, the API, and the JS SDK. It's basically, it's in just three forms. It's like, how would you like your egg done? It's the same egg, but it's like, scrambled, sunny side up, or boiled or hard boiled. So the same way the Voyager comes in three different forms in terms of the Voyager widget suite. And this is more for builders. If you're a builder, you have a project and you want to go cross-chain, but you've only deployed on one chain, now you can do it. And this is what it looks like. This is one of our partners that integrated our Voyager widget. It's fully customizable. You can have widget analytics of what transactions went through your widget. And it has our router branding. And you can actually set these parameters for when you click it, what would show right up away, what fee token. So this is the Voyager widget. This is another one that integrated our API, and this is Avagochi. Also, they've integrated with us. And these are other use cases, or basically our partners that actually have used our APIs or JS SDK. This is Frontier Wallet with it's a non-custody, it's a self-custody wallet, I think. Well, it's a wallet, and wallets can use ours to have a cross-chain swap built in, which will run on our Voyager infrastructure. This was implemented with JS SDK or API, depending on the app that, whether whatever you're writing in, whether it's a mobile app or whether it's a D app. So D apps like NX Finance use our API, and the difference between API JS SDK versus a Voyager widget, if you notice, is that the Voyager widget would have Aurora and most of the 10 chains like you would if you did Voyager. But over here on MX Finance, what you can do with the APIs, you can customize what chains should be on the source or destination. So you could limit it to the chains that you want your project to have liquidity coming from or towards. So yeah, so we're done with the Voyager side of things. We've seen the Voyager swap, the Voyager widget suite, and the Explorer. Now let's look at CrossTalk. And CrossTalk is probably the framework that is really driving the vision that we have of cross-chain messaging, of doing the one-click cross-chain transactions. What CrossTalk does is enables seamless state transitions across multiple chains, and that means you can it's really easy for developers to use plug and play for your developers. What it enables is that you can leverage our CrossTalk adapters to interface with contracts on one chain from a different chain. So something like I mentioned earlier, maybe you want to do cross-chain yield farming, you want to access a yield strategy on Binance Smart Chain, but you are accessing it from Polygon. So that's one example. And this would use Router's communication engine to build cross-chain applications. So you could convert your single chain dApps to multi-chain dApps. Developers have complete control over the fee parameters. So it's really a great framework for you to go cross-chain and really achieving the vision that we have to enable this ecosystem to go from siloed to interoperable cross-chain future where, operating across different chains is the norm. So you saw the route token earlier, and I did mention here's the perks of using a route token. First off, you can use it to pay for your bridging fee. And why would you do that? It's because if you paid in any other token, you would have to pay the full price. But if you use route token to pay, you pay only half price of the cross-chain transaction fee. Now, for governance, you can use route tokens for our governance proposal votes as well. And basically that would allow you to determine or vote for some of the changes in the protocol. Now, CrossTalk will also use route tokens for the cross-chain transactions, arbitrary sending of messages. And in the future, it's a unified gas and transaction fee. Route will be just the token that you use to pay for every cross-chain transaction. Just a recap, so some of these can be achieved by either using CrossTalk or the Voyager suite. So for whatever the Voyager suite does not solve, CrossTalk will be the solution for the back end kind of things. But either way, the Voyager widget can facilitate most of the any token to any token transfers, and whether it's front end or back end as well. But the CrossTalk is a framework that's more for doing cross-chain settlement, cross-chain farming, cross-chain NFTs. It's just a library that you need to integrate with your Dapps contract. Now, with the road ahead, so far we've already integrated 10 EVM chains. Most of these EVM chains are already integrated. We've got ZK Sync in the pipeline, and some more non-EVM chains we're looking at right now, like Solana, Algorand, maybe Cosmos. So we're looking to launch like incentivized liquidity vaults on routers, Voyager as well. Partnerships are a huge thing, whether it's networking opportunities, marketing, whether it's grants. We are open for partnerships. So if you're a builder and if you're building, feel free to reach out to us on Telegram, Discord, or Twitter. And also an ecosystem fund is something that we're looking at as well to help to develop projects that really contribute to the router protocol cross-chain ecosystem and also overall growth of Web3. Now, next year, we have some big plans. We have the router V2 planned for next year. We have a router multi-chain token standard that's coming up soon too. First of its kind, MPC cluster-based validation strategy. And we look forward to building really just the CrossTalk library with the IBC to connect the whole Cosmos ecosystem. So we have big plans for next year, and here we are so far. These are just some of our partners. Here are our investors. We've gone through a few rounds of funding already in 2021. The chains that we're on or soon to be on as well, like ZK Sync. The DEXs that we partner with on our destination chains, our media partners as well that have helped with media. And these are where, if you're a builder, your name will be here one day when you partner with us. These are one of our current partners that have integrated our widget or API or JS SDK or CrossTalk. And yeah, we range from all sorts of projects, from DeFi to GameFi to NFTs to play to earn, X to earn, perps as well, derivatives, all sorts of exchanges. So even I think Ledger is sort of a ledger, I think, and yeah, we have all sorts of projects that partner with us. So yeah, if you want to partner, and if you want to check out Router Protocol, you can go to routerprotocol.com and you can try our Voyager swap right there. And if you're building something and you need to go cross-chain, reach out to us on Telegram, Discord, or Twitter. and we'll be in touch. We'll be happy to build the future of Web3 with you and really, achieve the vision that we set out to build, which is an interoperable cross-chain future. So yeah, let's build together. And thanks again. My presentation is just up to here, and I'm done with it. Thank you, Hazel, and thank you, Force community, and also big thanks to the Router team and the community. Shout out to you guys, Route Army. Yeah, thanks for the support and allowing this to happen, making this happen. Thanks, guys.
Wow, very impressive. Thank you, Matthias. And let me share my screen right now. Yeah, and yeah. So thank you very much for coming tonight with us, with our live, and giving us this wonderful sharing about Router protocol and cross-chain ecosystem. I'm sure our audience got a lot of useful information from the speech tonight, and we also look forward to further cooperation with your team in the future. And for our audience, highly recommend you to check Router protocol's Twitter and get more infos about them if you're interested. 好的，那非常感谢 Matthias 今天精彩详实的一个分享。那相信我们直播间的小伙伴对于 Router protocol 的和跨链交互呢，一定也有了更多的一个了解。那如果大家感兴趣的话，也可以关注他们的官方 Twitter Router Protocol。同时，我们也期待能够在未来与你们有更多进一步的合作。那么到这里呢，我们今天的直播分享就结束了。园林区 Web 3.0先行者系列活动呢，后续也将为大家带来更多好玩有趣的话题，以及更多有料的生态资深大咖的一个分享。那欢迎大家关注我们园林区的公众号，加入我们的 Telegram、Discord， 在社群内与我们互动和交流，精彩活动第一时间知道。Force community will continue to bring you more fun and cutting-edge topics and more information sharing from ecological experts. And thank you all for joining us and see you next Tuesday. 谢谢大家，我们下周二再见，拜拜。